Welcome to the Rebirth of You podcast, the podcast for midlife men who want to stop underliving and live the lives they truly desire without apology. I'm your host, Dwayne Leckie, and I'm very excited to be here with you today. We're doing something different. This is I think, the first podcast that I have done that is on video, and I'm excited to get into this new medium. New for me, not new. I mean, obviously, there's a ton of stuff out there that's already on video, and I know that because I consume a lot of it. And I've been wanting to do this. My wife has been encouraging me to do this as well. Um, and yeah, encouraging is code for pushing, but in the best way. And so I really am looking forward to doing more of this type of content. And really, one of the things I love about it is that it actually does stretch me. And I, as a coach, I help people overcome their own limiting beliefs and overcome the things that are blocking them from taking on the challenges or doing the things that they want in their life. And I'm a human, and so I also have have to overcome and have to work through those same challenges. And much of the reason why I do what I do is because of the work that I have, that coaching, or the benefits that I've achieved from coaching, and I have used those in my life and seen really, really, really miraculous results, just in the way that I approach my life. I approach each and every day, how I think about myself, how I think about the world. And I want to share that, right? That's I feel like my assignment is to do that. My assignment is to help other men who are feeling the way I felt, and who um you know who have reached you know what I call the rock top, right? It's like actually the opposite of the rock bottom. And but but they're both not great. um you know I felt like I hit a rock top where things were great, and I still felt empty, and I still felt like I was asking myself the question, is this it? And 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 I believe that there are a lot of men who reach that point, and who are there, who are very successful. Coaching isn't just for the person who isn't achieving necessarily. I believe that you know what I consider myself a very high achieving person, and I think that there are a lot of high achieving individuals, high achieving men, who on the outside have what I characterize as a superficial happiness, but deep down there is an unhappiness, and they are struggling to figure out why. And they're struggling to figure it out because we've been conditioned and socialized and programmed to believe that happiness is found in the all the things, the external trappings, um, getting the good job, making the high salary, buying the big house, having the nice car, taking taking the trip every year to the whatever destination, you name it, that your counterparts are claiming that they went to. And it's not that these things aren't good. It's not that these things aren't, that you can't find joy and fun in any of these things. But I think that there is more to happiness. And I think that, much of what we characterize as happiness in our society is what I would call superficial happiness. It's it's a veneer of happiness, right? It looks great on the outside, but on the inside, you're not really feeling happy. You're not feeling your best. You're not feeling, you're not even content. Um, and I know for me, the idea that I could have, a great job and have, a great career where I had a lot of success and have a beautiful wife and wonderful children, who are all adults and thriving in their lives and living on a beach and I could still feel discontent and I could still feel, this level of just apathy. I was struggling with that. I was struggling with that idea. I was struggling to reconcile how that could be possible. And it was through coaching that helped me to really see that and understand that um many of the goals that I was chasing and many of the the just the accolades and um the material things, you know you know I had to really get honest about why I was going after those things, and I had to be really get honest about how many of those goals and objectives that I had created for myself were actually my own versus things that that may have been told to me or portrayed to me as something that I should want. And I was looking for and I had to get honest about why I was looking for these things. Like what was I trying to fill? Right? What was I solving for in going after, you know, the next promotion? What was I solving for in desiring to be in the bigger place, the bigger house? What was I trying to solve for? And what I found was a lot of what I was trying to solve for was I was trying to solve for my own worthiness. I was trying to solve for my own value, my own idea of myself. And and what I found through coaching was I was able to get really underneath, this idea of where my value and worth comes from, and 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 really get to a place to where I can look and say, um, who determines that for me, and 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 I think even more importantly, why is my worthiness even a question? Why am I even accepting the premise of this question? Right? Like, how would I behave and respond and show up in the world if I believed that I was already worthy? Like if there was nothing outside of me that was going to make me more worthy, how would I show up in the world? And I had to really wrap my head around that question. And you know, and once I did that, it was interesting, what came up because what what came up for me was, okay, so i- if I'm not doing this, if I'm not seeking more money or promotion in order to prove my worthiness, if I'm already worthy, number one, it it just takes a lot of pressure off. It really does, because if I'm already worthy, then I can just look at the things that I want to do and just do them because I want to do them or not. Right? I can just decide not to do them. Like, I'm not my worthiness isn't it's not the things that I do, or my worthiness, it's not conditional, you know, and I believe that for all of you. Our worthiness isn't conditional. I think that we are told, you know, um, you know, even from young, like we're constantly giving these ideas and presented with these thoughts and these questions around, you know, being a good boy or being a good girl, or and the things and and it's presented to us in a way that naturally will lead us to conclude that it is conditional. Like we are good if we do X, right? we are going to be seen as good in the eyes of the people that we look up to if we do X, right? If you clean your room, you're a good boy. If you don't, you're not. If you sit still in school, you're a good boy. If you struggle to sit still, you're not. And you're constantly put in these categories. And this continues, right? All the way up through high school, for college, for those of you going to college, and into our adult lives, where, you know, it always feels like we're playing this. It's like we're playing this game. Like, it's like, how many are we closer to, closer to full worthiness, or far further away from full worthiness? It's like we're constantly moving back and forth towards that thing. And at least this is the construct that I think that we have fallen into as a society. And 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 it's a shame, because you know what happens is that, you know we abdicate responsibility for our emotional wellness as a result of this, for our mental wellness as a result of this. And we end up putting it in the hands of the companies that are trying to sell stuff to us, right? It's like our emotions are being controlled by by the commercials that we see. Our emotions are being controlled by social media. Our emotions are being controlled by the companies that we work for. And we've fallen into this, into this trap of believing that our mental and emotional state is something that is driven by what's happening outside of us instead of what's happening in us. And more importantly, we've we've let go of our own agency around our mental emotional state. Like, we are the ones that can control that. We are the ones that have the answer. We are the ones that can decide, what do we want to feel like? How do we want to feel about ourselves? How do we want to feel about our lives? How do we want to feel about the things that we do? How do we want to feel about the choices that we make? And not look at them in a judgmental way, but just look at them, and look at them in order to make, determination as to how are the choices that we've been making for ourselves, how are they working for us, right? We can, without even realizing it, when we hand over control, when we're telling ourselves that our emotional and mental state is a function of the things that are happening outside of us, we are we're not taking responsibility, right? We're not being an emotional adult. And not only that, not being an emotional adult, what happens is that we put our emotional state in the hands of others. And so it's like we become puppets, and we've given the reins to others. So if someone else says something, and we tell ourselves a story about why they're saying that to us or what it means for us, and then we respond, right? But if we tell ourselves that it's because of what they said, then, I mean, if we do it then we're going to do it always. And we see the fruit of that right now in so much of our society, where everyone is everyone is so easily triggered by what is going on, what they see. And it's not that everything that's happening now in our society is great. It's you know, but the reality is that you know, if you choose to be triggered by by anything, you're going to be triggered by everything. And I think that we have to, as I mentioned, we just have to recognize that the responsibility for our emotional wellness and our emotional state is ours and ours alone. We get to decide how we are going to respond to anything that's happening outside of us. Doesn't matter what it is. We still get to choose. And I'm not telling you not to feel angry about things that may occur outside of you, or that you may witness in society, or not to feel sadness or feel um and not to feel any of this. This is not about not feeling negative emotion, but it's about understanding what's driving those emotions, and understanding that those emotions are coming from the story that you're telling yourself about what's happening, and not from the thing that's happening. And that is a critical distinction, because once you not just intellectualize but emotionalize the idea that our feelings are driven by the stories that we tell ourselves about facts that happen in the world. The facts that happen in the world aren't the things that cause us to feel any way. It's the story we tell ourselves. It's the narrative that we create and craft about that fact that causes the feeling that we have. And once we accept that, and once we internalize that, then then we take back our agency when it comes to our own emotional wellness. And not only do we take back our agency, we take back our power. And it's that power that enables us to move forward in the world in the way that we truly desire to move forward. It's that power that enables us to take on the challenges that come our way and not crumble. Right? It's that power that allows us to to choose to anticipate a positive outcome versus focusing on the undesired outcome, which then produces anxiety. Right? So much of the reason why we don't move forward in the things that we really want to do is because of the feeling of anxiety that we produce because of what we're choosing to believe about the thing that we want to do. It's anxiety is Anxiety is basically the belief, the energy that is created from you believing in a future outcome that you don't want. That's anxiety. It's the energy that gets created based on your belief in a future desire that hasn't happened that you don't want. It's different from fear. Fear is the energy that you feel as a result of a real and present danger. Real and present. Like it's actually, there's actually a real danger, and it's present. It's actually happening. Versus anxiety, it's about the future that hasn't happened yet, right? It's a future imagined outcome that has not occurred, but you're generating energy about that. That's what anxiety is. And based on that definition, right, and based on the fact that it's a future, it's only coming from your thoughts. It's only coming from your beliefs. It's only coming from the story you're telling yourself. It's only coming from the narrative that you're crafting around this potential future outcome that's causing the anxiety. And I'm talking about this because this is one of the major reasons why, if not the reason why, we fail to move forward and do the things that we actually want to do in our lives. Like, I know this. I know this because this is not something that this is not something that I've conquered. This is something that I am conquering. And I say that because it's present tense, because I deal with this now. And there's not a client that I have that where we don't go and dig deep into this specific topic, right? Because all my clients are high achieving. All my clients are they have accomplished a lot and they want to accomplish more. But we all we reach a place where we're trying to you know figure out what that next thing is. For some of us, it's what is that next thing, and trying to comb through the noise and really find the signal to really identify, is this the next thing that I want to do, or is this the next thing that I think I'm supposed to do? In some instances, the question is, is there a next thing? Could there still be a next thing? Is it too late for me? Which is another lie. It's another myth that's been presented to so many of us. This idea of, the way we think about retirement in our society is, listen, I'm not even going to say it's wrong. It's just someone's opinion. It is just someone's opinion. But it's amazing how it's been integrated into our lives to such a degree that for many of us, we believe it's a fact. We believe like this is what we have to do. We have to retire at 65. Like we have to, like that's what we're supposed to do. Who says? Who says? Like who gets to choose? Think about that. Who gets to choose? Why is someone else choosing for you? Why is the outcomes and the things that you want to do in your life being determined by someone else? That's just one example of a concept that we have, many of us in this society and our society has, we've internalized to be just fact, just the way it's supposed to be. But I want you to think about and just question that for a moment, and and maybe just sit with this thought that I'm offering you, which is that is someone's opinion. And I want you to consider how many opinions we have interpreted to be facts and operate as such, and how those so-called facts, which are truly opinions, have and are influencing your life. We have so many examples of people who are, you know, who who are still going in their 50s, in their 60s, in their 70s, in their 80s. I mean, look at Warren Buffett. The man still wakes up and drives to his office in the same car he's been driving for over a decade, in the same house he's been living in for 3 4 decades, maybe 5. You know, like he's like, why do I need to move? What do I need a bigger house for? Yeah, he's I think he's in his early 90s and he's still waking up and going to work with 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 no no desire to, think about, stopping. And there are more examples. And there are also examples of people who retire at their so-called retirement age into a life of nothingness. You know, like you hear people say, well, I don't even know what I'm going to do. And then they retire and you just see degradation. And I believe that is the case because I believe that we were never designed to just stop. I believe we were designed to continue to grow. I think we were designed to continue to get better. And I think that we are at our best when we are working towards an objective. We are at our best when we are going after a worthy goal. And it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what it is. Goal could be to better at get better at investing. The goal could be to get better at golf. The goal could be to get better at pottery. It could be to get better at jujitsu. It could be to get better at creating a business. It could be just to get better, just to do something challenging, just to do hard things. I think that we are at our best when we are working towards a worthy goal, a worthy ideal. And I think that when we're not, I think that it I think that there is a cost. I think that there is a cost. I think that there is a mental, an emotional, and oftentimes even a physical cost to the absence of an objective. I think we were designed to move forward. I don't believe that we were designed to retreat. And I believe that we were definitely not designed to stand still. So I hope that this message helps you today. And, like I said, I'm going to be doing more videos and I will also be bringing on some more guests. I want to have some more conversations with people. And I think that, I enjoy them. And I think the conversations are it's useful to get the perspective of others and actually see and hear uh, people who have not only gone through things and who are not only taking steps or have taken steps to change their lives, but they're still moving forward. They're still progressing. They're not stopping. They're not stopping. And um, so we're gonna have more of that on the podcast. Like I said, we're gonna have more video on the podcast. So I look forward to to talking with you and continuing to share these ideas. And if there is any feedback or comments, please go and review the podcast wherever you listen to the podcast. If there are any suggestions or any topics that you guys want to hear, please do that. Also, if you found any of this helpful and you believe that there's someone who can benefit from this, please share the podcast with other people. It really helps me. It really helps the podcast. um and if you're listening to this and and you haven't subscribed, please click the subscribe button. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you so much. So excited to have been with you guys, and I look forward to the next time. Cheers.